Today I'm going to show you how to make a 3 mic sourced Kontakt instrument. So if you haven't done any work in Kontakt at all, go to my Patreon page and watch some of the earlier posts with like really basic stuff, just like getting sounds on the mapping editor and like how to record some samples. Do those things first and then come back to this one. But if you feel like you're ready, and honestly it's pretty easy to follow, you can probably just go ahead and do it. Please keep in mind though, you do need some things done already before starting this. One, you need to record samples with the desired mic placements. So if you haven't done that, you're going to need to record some stuff. Step 1, create 3 groups to hold your 3 microphone sources. So go to Group Editor and create 2 more groups. And since I'm using stereo close mics, I'm using stereo room mics, and I'm using a mono kind of bass mic that was just tucked away in the corner. So I want to title these groups so I don't get confused what samples are where. Step 2 is creating volume knobs that are assigned to each of those groups so you have some control later, and we can do this in the script editor. I have a template now that I use for multiple mic sourced instruments, and if you go to my Patreon you can download the script I just copied in here. And when I click apply, now I have this performance view. It's close mic, room mic, bass mic. Great, and that's connected right up to these groups that we made previously. A couple things that you should know: if you do want to move these knobs around the performance view, you certainly can. On the move control, under the declare UI knob, there's a section called move control pixel. This is the width and this is the height. So if you wanted to like move the knobs in a little farther, you could like go 166 pixels in, and then that one mic volume knob goes in a little bit. Step 3, we have to import our samples on the correct groups, because remember, each group is a different microphone. You need the group editor open, which is that one, and the mapping editor open. And there's one little thing you got to make sure you click, and it's the selected groups only. Make sure you activate that so you're not dropping your samples in on all 3 groups at the same time. This way you can just select one group. And at this point, you should already have your samples exported and labeled nice and neatly, and also have in those labels what microphone source it is per hit, or like note, whatever instrument you're making. Heavy-handed is going to be the first patch that I make. So I want to make sure I select bass on the groups, and then I want to drop this in. I'm going to drop this in on C1. You can decide where or what to do with it. And I'm going to stretch them out 3 keys per sample. And then I want to go to the room microphone, heavy-handed. Drop those in and match the 3 notes per sample. We've got the close mics, heavy-handed. Same thing. 3 keys per sample. Now if I play those, you can hear all the mics working together, and already we have control over the volumes of each group. Step 4, you need to set the volume of your samples so it's pretty balanced. I already have done this as I was importing it. But the way you would do it is, if you feel like your close mics are a little louder than the rest, you can select the close mic group, select all those samples, and adjust the volume accordingly. Or you can do it individually if you think one's sticking out. Like, you can adjust all those, just like we did in the making the metal sales Kontakt instrument tutorial, which is on Patreon. Step 5, and you should know this one already, we're going to set the velocity modulation, but the difference is, from here and our last tutorial, we have 3 groups. So for every group, you need to add that velocity modulation. So I've added that with my preset of the curve, and if you notice, if I click over the room mics, you need to do it again for every group. So go to you just do the same thing again. Step 6, we do the AHDSR, and that's another add modular envelopes AHDSR. And on the bottom here, yeah, I'm just going to leave it where it's at. It's great. And you need to do this for every group. Don't forget the every group part on these add-ons. Step 7, we're getting to the end here. For every group, you do have the option to add an effect. And in my finished version of this, I used a high pass, a low pass, an EQ, and a compression on various groups. So what I'm going to do now is pull up that finished instrument. Here's my finished desk and cabinets, heavy-handed hits, and in the group editor, if I select close mics, you can see I have a high pass, I have a 3-band EQ, and a little compression. There is the velocity modulation, and there's also the AHDSR, and that's pretty much the same on all of them, except I did a low pass for the bass, but everything else is pretty much the same. And finally, if you don't know how to do this, you can add an instrument wallpaper. I have a tutorial for this on Patreon if you want to check it out, but you can make your own wallpaper and then make it look something like that. And now I have all these sounds of these desks hits, and these are like the heavy-handed big hits, or I could go to my light tapping ones, or I have quirky hits, and I have this like regular tapping. Finally, don't forget to save your instrument. When you first save it, make sure you save the patch and samples and compress the files, but from then on you can just save the patch. There you have it. You have one finished Kontakt instrument, and I hope you get out and explore more and make your own sounds and just be as unique as you possibly can. I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out the other tutorials I have on Patreon, and I will be posting more videos soon, and I'll see you in the next video.